Future World community, welcome back to another video with Kyle Chris, and today we're going to be continuing our journey towards Gencon. And today we're going to be going over Red and what you should expect if you are playing Red or if you're going to be playing against Red. So as always, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We do support all of the, or appreciate all of the support. And I also support all of the support as well. So Red is in a very interesting spot. It seems that Beerus is sort of the best red deck kind of across the board, regardless of which region you look at. Mostly everyone's playing Beerus in some capacity, but we've seen some smaller participation from the likes of U7 and even Starter Coup, which I was very shocked about. Top Coup still probably won't exist too much until set 3, where it does actually receive a buff. But that's for a different video that we'll talk about. So with Red in general, this is kind of how it works out for Red for the most part, is that Red sort of has a dominating matchup against Yellow. And what I mean by dominating is the cards themselves deal with Yellow very well. So for instance, one of Yellow's biggest tools, the Cooler, the Vegeta that stops cards from being KO'd. Red can just reduce their power, and then they're removed by game mechanic. So you're able to get around a lot of their effects. Blue has now, since set 2 was released, Blue has sort of been a thorn in Red's side, being able to board wipe pretty easily with multiple cards, and putting them at the bottom of the deck definitely reduces Red's aggressiveness and forces Red to waste more resources on things where they don't really want to be doing that. And then the green matchup is sort of a 50-50, I would say. It's really going to be dependent on the leader versus leader, less than the actual cards themselves. And also the player skill, of course. So, like, I might say that it's 50-50, and someone might say, well, I've beat every green player at my locals. Well, you know, hats off to you, right? But this is sort of how Red sort of kind of teeters. So you really want to be catering your tech slots in your deck for dealing with Blue. Even if Blue is not the most popular color in the room, if you run into that one Blue player who's ready to deal with your Red deck, you might be in for a long day. So again, like, these are probably the two better not green leaders. These are probably the two better Red leaders that you're going to end up playing. Again, we'll talk about Starter Coup in a minute, but these two are probably, these were, set 1. These were the two dominating Red decks in U7 and in God of Destruction Beerus. So U7, obviously, just being able to just, board these really powerful cards and then also give them an extra 5k boost on top of whatever buffs they already have, makes the deck the premier, quote-unquote, Red aggro deck. So for instance, this Gohan is now a 30k once you've awoken. That can reduce something by 15k, which is pretty strong. You have the Blue Goku KOing a 20k or less, and then also becoming a 30k. And then, of course, now since Rebrand is gone, you have to reinstate the OG Double Striker, which is the 5-drop, which becomes a 40k on your turn if you are U7. Now for Beerus is sort of the flip side. Beerus is more of a control deck. And I found this very interesting, is that the gentleman who won the California Regional, the Core TCG, was playing one of this card. I know he said he didn't really play it a ton. It was more sort of a surprise. But I do feel like this card actually has a lot of merit, especially going into more Yellow. Reducing a card by 15k, swinging into it, and then that also deals the damage to your opponent, really allows for you to sort of sneak out damage without actually having to swing into your opponent, meaning you're able to kind of kill two birds with one stone. You're able to do some board clearing as well as being able to swing into a card. So you're going to get cards out of their hand, you're killing a battle card, and then, best case scenario, you're also burning them alive. Cards like Gohan also helps for the board clearing as well, reducing cards by 10k. And then with your leader ability, you can kill a 20k basically. This also just helps you clear the wide boards that Yellow can create, and also Blue to some extent, and also in the red mirrors. And then sort of the boss monster for the deck is Beerus. Again, being able to kill almost an entire board of cards by sacrificing one card from hand and then having a 35k crit. Again, is just kind of playing into this control style where you're just trying to remove resources from your opponent. And you do a very good job of that in Beerus. And Beerus is going to be the deck we're going to talk about at the end. This would be the deck that I would actually play if I was going to Gen Con. I'll kind of show you the, a pretty good list that we've come up with here. Before we get into that, we will talk about the other red deck that has fallen from grace, essentially, which was Topku. Again, Topku does still have some tools. It's just not as good. And in next set, this deck would get much better. But currently, we have the 1 of Kefla, which allows you to play a 3 or less TOP card from your hand. When this card was a 4 of, it was insane. Like, you can just play this. As soon as you awaken, you can slam this card down. And then basically every turn after that, you can either slam one of these down for 1 and then also pay 4 for another one. So you're boarding 4 battle cards for, 5 energy. It's pretty good. Again, you have the Goku, not the Goku, but you have the Gohan that you can play. You can play this off of the Kefla. You have the Kefla, the Awakened Kefla itself, which allows you to draw a card. But then there's also this particular card that people might want to look into playing if you're playing Topku. So being able to play a 40k body for 1 energy is pretty nuts, I'll be honest with you. So I would look out for this. I think this card, among the Vegeta and a few other cards that TOP is going to have access to in set 3, Topku might be coming back in some aspect. It will not be as aggressive as it was, or even as oppressive, but it still would be a pretty powerful deck. And in the last red deck, I'm not do too much conversation about it in this video. I have a different video set up for set 3 going over this leader. But finally, I think it received 2 top placings, maybe 1 top placing over in Europe. It's the first time, I think, that's actually placed at an actual sanctioned event. So maybe people are starting to figure out how to play this deck. And once this deck starts getting more tops, we can probably move it up on the list, because I did put this card, this leader, very low on our tier list originally in 2.5, just because no one has played it since its release, really, other than a few people maybe at their locals and stuff, but it's never been played on a regional level. And finally, it did receive a top, to my knowledge. So this is a leader to look out for. It's incredibly generic, so like there's not really much that it needs. It just needs good, just generic red support. And in set 3, we're getting a lot more red support, so this deck is I feel like it's gonna be even better. So that does it for the red breakdown. Now we're gonna go into the deck list, as I already said. I would be bringing Beerus if I was playing a red deck at Gen Con, and I'll kind of show you the list that I've been playing and see if you guys like that. Alright, so we have a 52 card list here for Mr. Beerus. If you guys don't know, Beerus is a crit leader, and then also has the ability of reducing a card by 10k on your Awakened side. So we'll start with the 1-drops. We have 4 Basil and 2 Piccolo. This is pretty standard. I think for most of the crit leaders, just hard draw is just not necessarily needed. Being able to search for your cards is definitely better, I think, because you're not able to really draw on the front side, so you're not really getting through your deck as fast, and at least this way you can actually see, hopefully see the cards that you actually want to see with the searching ability. Also we have 2 of the 1-drop Whis, mainly because they're 10Ks. We run this over the stationary activate main Whis. This being able to reduce the card by 5k, but also being a 10k combo power is very essential, I feel like, early. For the Khalifas, our early game, this replaces the hit. Basically, this is hit and Roshi, essentially, in this deck. 20k crit that takes up to 1 life. This is a super easy card to board early. And then a lot of matchups, honestly, I think this is where, experience comes in. I would say you probably board Kefla and don't swing with it until you have maybe multiple Keflas on board, and then you can start pressuring them down. If you just swing a 20k crit, they combo out of it for 10k, then they swing into it, and now you have to get rid of a card in hand, so you're already down in value because you don't draw. Plus now your big pressure card's gone. So I would say this is probably better just to board early and then just swing with your leader, keep it, keep it upright, and then once you board a few more of them, then you start pressuring. 4 of the 3-drop Gohans. Four of the 3-drop Gohans, because this is probably your best turn 3 play. 2 of the board wipe Gohans, again, just another solid card for board wiping. This is going to be a surprise to people, but I think this 3-drop Android 17 might make a comeback, just overall across the board for red decks. So maybe outside of U7. So 3-drop 20k on your opponent's turn. It gains 5k, so it's a 25. but then also when you play it, you add to 1 life. So I'm going to pair this with the permanent 5k buff Android 17, and we do not play the Super Saiyan Blue Goku in this deck. For one, if you've played Red before, you understand that Red has a lot of 0k cards. You have this 17, you have the Super Saiyan Blue Goku, you have both, actually 3 of your boss monsters are all 0ks, and that really messes up your ratios when it comes to combo power. And now you're having to board these early, so you just have them on board because that's where they're going to get their most value from, because they have no value in your hand. So it makes your turns a little more telegraphed. But with this card being a 10k combo, super powerful, being a 25k on your opponent's turn, especially in the yellow matchup, makes this card very sticky, because being at 25k, as you know, most yellow decks have to combo cards from their hand to even meet 25k. So if they waste a card or 2 trying to combo over this card, that's great. It's 2 less cards they have in their hand, right? Also, being able to take a life is also kind of fulfilling the same spot that the Super Saiyan Blue Goku was doing. And since KOing we don't really need to worry about, because we're going to be able to remove most cards in the game, I just don't think that card's as valuable in this deck, so that's why we slotted in the 17. For Frost, again, for the yellow matchup, this also works in the Android 17-18 matchup, because they do board a lot of 20ks. Between the Krillin, the 2-drop androids, the 2-drop Android 18s, the SR and the skillless, and the rare 17 and 18 that gives them an extra, that ramps them an energy. So early, this card also can work against that. It's also very good into yellow as well, because all of their cards are 20k. 3 of the Awakened Kefla, mainly because it's a draw. I'm sorry, mainly because it's a 10k, but then the secondary effect is that you do get to draw on your Awakened side. 4 Keto Pesla, another 10k. Also, this card does have some spot removal for small cards. Sometimes if you're playing against a green deck especially, they'll board a lot of 1-drops. So you can play this, you can KO a 1-drop, swing into something, KO another 1-drop, or minus a card by 5k. And then when this card's KO'd, you also minus the card by 5k. So this is just really good for just cleaning up smaller boards. And also it is, again, another 10k. We have the Kefla, which can play the 2 corresponding cards we just talked about, as well as the 3-drop Gohan here. 2 Helis, this is another 10k. This minuses a 30k or more battle card by 20. So if it's a 30k battle card, you can play this, you reduce it to 10, leader will reduce it to 0, so you can kill it. But again, just another 10k. This is normally just comboed or charged. That's another thing in red decks, is sometimes it's just hard to find cards you want to charge, because everything seems important. This is just one card you can always just charge. 3 Krillin, this kind of falls into the same category, but this reduces the card by 20k when it attacks. So this is actually really good into yellow. So you, like with your leader effect, you can reduce the card by 10, use this to swing into it, and then minus something else by 20k. Also, you can use this to use this to remove Cooler as well. So both of these cards combined can also just remove Cooler for 4 energy, and they are also both 10k combos. So Secret here, it's a little tech. We're running 3 of the Secret Rares and 2 of the Beerus Crits. So we actually are not playing. We're not playing the Double Striker. I don't think it's needed, and I think you run 2 0k boss monsters, and I chose to go with the Burn Secret Rare. I like the effect of just reducing a card by 15. With our leader effect, we can reduce it by another 10k, and now if our opponent wants to save that card, they have to give us at least a super combo plus something else if it's a big card, or just they let it die, and now you just burn them alive anyways. I think this is going to be very valuable piece of tech to use, and I think we're going to start seeing it more and more in Beerus decks. Honestly, try it out for yourself. It feels really good to slam this for 4, and then also being able to use the Kamehameha as defense, which is something that a lot of red decks are not using. So instead of slamming 5, playing the Double Striker to go for game, we can use this to sort of kind of pick apart their hand a little bit and maybe take a card off the board, and then use this as a 15k combo or a 20k combo if it's a swing with a battle card on defense, plus using some of our 10ks to survive. I think it's a very valuable tool to use, and not a lot of people are using it. So I would again, try it out, see if it's something that fits kind of your playstyle. It fits mine perfectly. I think this goes really well with the deck, and people are just not using this. We have 1 God Kamehameha, just in case they do board something that's really big and we need to remove it. This can remove a 40k So like a good card that you can use this for is, I don't know, what are you thinking? Maybe droids, right? It's a 40k. You can reduce it by 10 with your leader, and then tap 1 if you have no battle cards in play, or tap 2 if you have a battle card in play, and then KO it. It's pretty solid. And then 4 super combos. Doesn't really matter which one you run. But this is my Beerus deck. I played this quite a bit on the ladder in the digital client. It feels super good. Try it out though. I think the changes, again, the Android here, I think this is a super solid just upgrade in the 3-drop slot. Just adding another another 10k to your arsenal is always good. The secret rare, I think, over Double Striker, and then really focusing on the Beerus as our 5-drop. I think this is great synergy here. And then the 4-drop Heelys and Krillin, these can be removed for the Fua, which is a 2-drop angel that reduces a card by 15k. These cards just have the ability of swinging, which is kind of my, like this is a 25k swing, this is a 15 that can reduce something by 20k, so this is generally going into battle cards, this is generally going into leader. The Fu is a 2-drop, it's a 5k, so like it's another like, combo piece, but these are also 10ks as well. So that's kind of my purpose if you're going to ask as to why I'm running these instead of that. So this is the list. Again, take a look at it. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are going to end up playing something similar to this at Gen Con, or if you guys are going to be playing a different red deck, let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of red going into the remaining of 2.5 format. And as always, like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy the content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.